thought it pertinent today to look at the banks with our commentary on Reuters Breakingviews. We start with Bankia. Is its whopping bailout a double-edged sword? And could haircuts for EU bank bondholders lessen taxpayer pain? With me is Robert Cole. Morning, Robert.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Bankia, 19 billion. I know this piece came out on Friday, but what's your take on this, and where do we move from now?
Well, the news broke late on Friday, actually, and we put out, because it was so important an issue, we put out a special piece on Saturday, actually. So we're going back to that here, but it's clearly a story which is developing. So this, just to remind people where we are with Bankia, the Bankia bailout seems to be quite generous. Seems to be enough money there to sort the problems out of this relatively recently formed banking conglomerate. It was a gather together of 5 or 6 smaller banks. There seems to be enough money there. They seem to have grasped the nettle. New management have done very well. But it's a double-edged sword for 2 reasons. The first is that it's still not clear where this money's coming from. Now, clearly it's coming from the government, but and
it's sitting on the government's balance sheet.
And well, that's what we kind of assume. But there seems to be some jiggery-pokery going around, and whether they can somehow swap bonds that they raise with bonds that might have some backing of the ECB or the EFSF or indeed the ESM. So there seems to be some doubt about how and why, how this money is raised and whether actually it does rebound back onto Madrid. So that's one big question. That's one we're carrying on trying to work out. So the structure of this deal is still a bit murky. The other part of the other edge of this double-edged sword, if you like, is that yes, Bankia has got lots of money out of this bailout, but what does that mean for the other financial institutions, Spain's other financial institutions, primarily at banks? Because if Bankia needs this much money because its balance sheet is in such a poor state of repair.
What about the others?
What about the others?
I found the most alarming thing I found was this bailout fund money. It's got about FROB has about 5.3 billion euros of cash left, and estimates are that it needs 50 to 100 billion.
Yeah,
that's the scary part.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you say these debts are going to go back onto Madrid's balance sheet. Well, yes, one would have thought they will, but where are they going to get the money from?
Okay, this other piece.
Connected.
European banks need to haircut the bondholders.
It's very naturally from the.
But it opens a can of worms, doesn't it?
Absolutely, but. It seems the starting point here, and the writers have made this quite clear, is that everybody is in the smelly place at the moment, and we really need to get money from everywhere. And just because you're a senior bondholder in a bank doesn't mean to say that you should feel secure, or perhaps it means that you should be putting up your hand to pay your part of the costs. Lots of people are going to take losses here. Senior bank creditors, maybe it may have to be among those. But as you say, it does open a can of worms because once you start asking, well, senior bank creditors are going to have to pay up. I mean, up to a point, they lend money to banks. Up to a point, depositors lend money to banks. Where are you going to draw the lines, and how are you going to ring fence this or organise this in a way which means there can be an orderly sorting out of these bank balance sheets rather than a disorderly one? And I'm afraid that is still the very worrying question that's facing Europe now.
Okay, Robert, thanks a lot for that. Robert Cole, that is it for now. If you want to watch our US Breaking Views show, comes on every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 BST. Hugo Dixon's column, I'll discuss that with him at 11:45 London time today. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.